Good morning, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the Great Pyramids in Giza. Actually, no, I'm not. Coming to you from the living room in Jacksonville Beach. But today, we're going to take a look at Exodus chapter 2. And we're going to be introduced to Moshe. Moses is not a Jewish name. It's not a Hebrew name. It's Egyptian. Moshe. This is really beautiful. These pyramids. All of your mom and dad have been there. And I hope to go someday. I'm 70 years old now. We were within several hundred miles of here in 2022, but we weren't we weren't that close that we could just zip over there. It would have been like a train ride because grandmother doesn't fly. But it's pretty amazing. So we'll just play this in the background. Exodus chapter 2, verse 1 says, "A man from the household of Levi," and Levi is the priestly clan, who was married a woman who was a descendant of Levi. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. And if you remember that the very end of chapter 1 said, "Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, all sons that are born you must throw into the river, but all daughters you must let live." And the thinking is, well, the Egyptian men can take the Hebrew daughters as wives, and they'll be Egyptians. But the man can start a war and take over the country, so we're going to kill them. When she saw that the child was healthy, she hid him for 3 months. But when she was no longer able to hide him, she took a papyrus basket for him and sealed it with bitumen and pitch. So this is like tar. So she's making it so it'll float. She put the child in it and set it among the reeds along the edge of the Nile. His sister stationed herself at a distance to find out what would happen to him. So they did this to try to save this little boy's life, because they knew that if they got caught not throwing him into the river to kill him, that they would be killed. So it wouldn't really matter if they saved him. He would be killed and they would be killed. So they made this decision. And sometimes in life, you have to make decisions like this that are very, very scary. Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself by the Nile while her attendants were walking alongside the river, and she saw the basket among the reeds. Now, people didn't have plumbing like they do now. So she's Pharaoh's daughter. She probably had some sort of internal tub of some sort that she could get washed, but it was easy to just go down there and get washed at the Nile. She saw the basket among the reeds. She sent one of her attendants, took it, opened, and saw the child, a boy, crying. And she felt compassion for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get a nursing woman for you from the Hebrews, so that she may nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Yes, do so." So the young girl went and got the child's mother. So what's going on here is they needed a lactating female, so they needed a female who had recently given birth, and they went there, and so Moses' sister's older. She's old enough to be down there watching. She probably goes and tells the mom, and the mom makes herself available. But trust me, God's in control of this. This is all a God thing. He's raising up a deliverer. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, so the sister is going to run and tell the mom. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. So she went from having a baby boy who was going to be killed for being a baby male Hebrew to getting paid by the ruler of the land to raise that child. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him from the water." In those days, when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and observed their hard labor. So I think he's about 40 at this point in time. And remember that they were enslaved in Egypt. They had gone there. Joseph was second in command. Everything was good. They were just keeping the herds for the Egyptians because they were herdsmen. And then somebody became the Pharaoh who didn't know Joseph and said, "Okay, well, these people are becoming pretty numerous and strong, so let's put them in slavery and make them build some of these things that we're looking at here were built by the Hebrew slaves." I don't think we know exactly which things, but some of the things in Egypt were built by the Hebrew slaves. Oh, good. We have Donald Duck. Now back to the Bible. He went out to his people and observed their hard labor, and he saw an Egyptian man attacking a Hebrew man, one of his own people. He looked this way and that and saw that no one was there, and then he attacked the Egyptian and concealed the body in the sand. When he went out the next day, there were two Hebrew men fighting. So he said to the one who was in the wrong, "Why are you attacking your fellow Hebrew?" So what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think that these guys are going to go, "Oh, thanks for resolving this problem there, Mr. Hebrew man who's grown up in the palace of Pharaoh. Um, yeah, thanks for interceding on this." Because, see, they're slaves, and he isn't. So even though he's one of them, let's see if they think he's one of them. The man replied, "Who made you a ruler and a judge over us? Are you planning to kill me like you killed that Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid, thinking, "Surely what I did has become known." When Pharaoh heard about this event, he sought to kill Moses. So Moses fled from Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian. And he settled by a certain well. So now he's left Egypt, even though we're still in Egypt. We're watching a bus go past one of the Great Pyramids. Now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and began to draw water and fill the troughs in order to water their father's flock. So now we have an allusion back to Genesis. Remember Jacob? Rachel was feeding watering the father's flock. And remember Isaac? Rebecca was watering her father's flock. When some shepherds came and drove them away, Moses came up and defended them and then watered their flock. So when they came home to their father Reuel, he asked, "Why have you come home so early today?" They said, "An Egyptian man rescued us from the shepherds, and he actually drew water for us and watered the flock." He said to his daughters, "So where is he? Why in the world did you leave this man? Call him so that he may eat a meal with us." In this part of the world, hospitality is everything. It's much different than the way we do things here. Even you, Olive, you're growing up in a family where your father's Egyptian. But, and I'm sure hospitality means a lot in your house. In fact, I know that it does. But not like here. Back in these days, um, it was an honor thing. Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. When she bore Moses a son, Moses named him Gershom, for he said, "I have become a resident foreigner in a foreign land." During that long period of time, the king of Egypt died, and the Israelites groaned because of the slave labor. They cried out, and their desperate cry because of their slave labor went up to God. God heard their groaning. God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God saw the Israelites, and God understood. Now, God didn't need to listen, and he didn't forget, and he didn't lack understanding at any point in time. This is just the way that this is written. It's written so that a human can understand it. But people attack the Bible, and they shouldn't. Anyway, we are at the end of chapter 2. So let me just say peace out. And I think we'll resume in chapter 3, coming down on this beautiful atoll here on, I guess, the Red Sea. Until then, peace out.